So here's a question that I'm getting multiple times a week right now. Should I just buy new construction? And I get why. Rates are still sitting up around 6.5%. The resale market here in Salt Lake County is pretty tight, and builders are throwing around some incentive numbers that honestly sound completely made up. $40,000 off, rates in the 3s and 4s, free finished basements. So today I'm gonna break the whole thing down. The pros, the cons, and exactly what some of these builders like Edge, Ivory, Richmond, Woodside, DR Horton, Harry, and many others are doing right now. There's no fluff, there's no builder marketing spin. I don't work for a builder anymore. I'm a local agent, and this is exactly what I'm telling my clients this week. And by the end of this video, you'll know whether or not new construction makes sense for you. And I worked for a builder for 6 years. I sold new construction for them, and I've helped dozens of buyers purchase new construction homes. So I know the ins and outs from both sides of the table. Let's get into it. And before we talk builders, you need to know the backdrop because it changes everything about how to negotiate an offer. As of this summer, the median sold price in Salt Lake County is right around $560,000. And that's actually up close to 7% from a year ago. However, the listing prices have actually dipped slightly, which tells you sellers are getting a little bit more realistic, and buyers are getting a little bit more leverage than they've had in the past. Homes on average now are taking around 43 days to sell. The days on market has creeped up, and inventory has grown about 4% year over year. That's not a crash, that's a market catching its breath after years of insanity. Mortgage rates, meanwhile, have been bouncing between 6 and 6.5% for most of the summer. You know, not the 3 or 4% range like we saw a few years ago, but certainly not the 7 to 8% range that we saw not too far back. They're stable-ish, which, believe it or not, is actually good news. It means builders know exactly what they're competing against, and they're pricing their incentives accordingly. So here's the headline that you need to understand before anything else. Builders are sitting on completed homes. These are called spec homes, or also known as quick move-ins. These are homes that are done, they're sitting empty, and they're costing builders money every day that they don't sell. And that's the entire reason why these incentives that they're offering are as aggressive as they are. It's not charity, they don't feel bad for you, it's they need to move inventory and it works in your favor. So when we're talking about pros and cons, pro number one is gonna be the incentives are genuinely wild right now. Let's start here because this may be the number one reason to purchase new construction homes in 2026. You have Ivory Homes, which is Utah's largest home builder. They're based right here in Salt Lake City. They're running rate buy-down programs that can get you rates in the low 4s. Of course, you do have to use their preferred lender, and there's other things that are going to apply. They're also doing seller-paid closing cost credits, where they're giving a percentage of your loan amount towards your closing costs. Another large builder here in Utah is Edge Homes. They're based in Draper, Utah, and they build about 1,500 homes a year across Utah and Salt Lake counties. And they've been running some of the most aggressive incentives in the entire state. We're talking incentive packages of 9 to 10% of the purchase price in certain communities. On a $600,000 home, that could be as much as $60,000 in incentives from the builder. Their headline promotion right now features rates as low as 1.99%. Now, of course, you do have to read the fine print. The 1.99 is just on the first year, and then it steps up to a 2.99 in year 2, and then it lands at a permanent rate after that. But it's still a great rate, and it's still an awesome opportunity to get into a home and save a bunch of money. I've seen Richmond American that's been offering promos as high as $40,000. Again, you can use that towards closing costs, rate buy-downs, or take it off the price. We're also seeing a lot of 2-1 buy-down options. Now, if you don't know what a 2-1 buy-down is, it's where the lender or builder actually prepaid the interest to bring the rate down by 2% the first year and 1% the second year, which can save you hundreds of dollars a month in those first couple of years. The idea behind this is that hopefully rates will come down a little bit and you'll be able to refinance at a permanent fixed rate in the future. Perry Homes has been offering a $21,000 package for qualified buyers who use their preferred lender as well. And DR Horton, which is one of the largest builders in the entire country, has been leaning hard into their rate buy-down program. With that, they're able to get a lot of their home buyers into rates that are in the 3s and 4% range. These builders know the largest concern of home buyers right now is their interest rate and their monthly payment. So they're trying to find ways to remedy that so that they can sell homes. Now, here's the thing that I need you to understand as your agent. Every single one of these numbers is a moving target. They can change these numbers monthly, sometimes even weekly. And that's based on what homes this builder's trying to move any particular week, what community they're trying to sell in, and what inventory that they have sitting and available. And the number that's advertised on their website is almost never the best deal available. The best deals are usually quietly sitting with the spec home that's been sitting on the market the longest, because that's the one that's been costing the builder money and interest every day that it's been sitting empty on the market. And that's exactly why you shouldn't shop the builder's websites alone. You should bring someone like myself, because we can walk into that sales office together and I can represent you in your best interest. We can make sure that we ask the right questions and determine what inventory we can get the best deals on, and and make sure you get the absolute best bang for your buck and get exactly what you want in your new home. Now, pro number 2, you can oftentimes stack state assistance on top. Utah's first-time homebuyer program through the Utah Housing Corporation offers up to $20,000 in assistance for first-time homebuyers purchasing new construction that's under $450,000. And one thing that these builders won't come right out and tell you, it's often stackable with many of these builder incentives. When I was selling new construction townhomes in Riverton, we had a lot of them that were right at that $450,000 price point. Buyers were able to come in there as first-time homebuyers, purchase them with the preferred lender, get the 3% incentive, and still get the $20,000 incentive from the state. They could use that $20,000 as part of their down payment to pay for closing costs, to do a rate buy down, and a lot of these buyers were able to get into homes that they probably wouldn't have been able to get otherwise, and they were able to save hundreds of dollars a month in doing so. And this is an opportunity that you just can't get with a resale home. Pro number 3 of new construction, everything is new. This one's obvious, but it's real. Everything on a new construction home is new. New roof, new HVAC, new water heater, new appliances, new windows. You're not inheriting someone else's deferred maintenance or the mystery smell in the basement. My own mom, who's a realtor for over 30 years and sold new construction for most of that time period, used to always say, you don't want to have to worry about picking at someone else's toenails out of the carpet. I know that that's a disgusting visualization, but it's true. And along with that, most builders offer a warranty with their homes. Now, this can range from anywhere from 1 to 10 years. A lot of times you'll see at least a 1-year warranty that will cover home bumper to bumper. So if anything goes wrong, for the most part, it will be covered by the builder. On top of that, a lot of them will have mechanical warranties that will cover things like plumbing and electrical that will go for anywhere from 2 to 3 years. And then on top of that, some of them will have a structural warranty that will last anywhere from 6 to 10 years. And that comes with a lot of peace of mind, especially for a first-time homebuyer who doesn't want to have to shell out $9,000 for a furnace within that first year. Now, of course, buyers can always purchase or have the seller purchase a third-party warranty, which would cover something like a furnace. And I always recommend buyers do that, whether it's paid for by them or the seller. But knowing that these builders stand behind their product and warranty them for you is a big deal. Pro number 4, there's no multiple offers, there's no bidding, there's no love letters or waiving your inspection out of desperation. With days on market and inventory loosening up, we're pretty much past the waive everything and pray era. But new construction actually takes that pressure down even further because you're almost never gonna be competing against multiple offers on the same house. For the most part, you're gonna be one buyer, one builder, one negotiation. And as we just covered, that builder wants to negotiate with you. Pro number 5 is gonna be energy efficient and lower utility bills. Newer building codes and newer homes mean better insulation, more efficient HVAC systems, more efficient windows and electrical systems, more efficient appliances and water heaters. Now, it's not going to give you a dramatic savings month to month, but over the long haul, it can save you thousands. That's money that you can put in your pocket rather than send it to Rocky Mountain Power every month. Now, I want to talk about some of the cons because there are a few of them and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Now, con number 1 is that you may be buying further out than you would like to. Much of the large-scale new construction that's happening in the valley right now is happening in the growth corridors. Places like Harriman, Saratoga Springs, far out West Jordan. I call it far out anytime it's west of like Mountain View Corridor. West Jordan. You also have parts of South Jordan, West Valley, and Magna. So if your job is anywhere near downtown or the Silicon Slopes, you're gonna have a long commute, which could be too much of a trade-off for that brand new kitchen. Con number 2 is that incentive rate may not be what it looks like on the surface. Now this is a big one. That 1.99% or the 3.99% interest rate that you see plastered all over the builder's website, in almost every case, that's a temporary buy down. A 2-1, a 3-2-1, a 7-1 type of a structure, which means the interest rate could step up every year or every couple of years until you hit the actual note rate, which could be sitting closer to 6%. It's a fantastic way to ease into your home and your payment, especially if you expect your income to grow and also the ability to refinance down the road. But if you're budgeting your entire month around that year 1 payment without planning for the step up, you could end up being house poor by year 3. You need to always have the lender break it down for you and give you the full amortization schedule, not just the teaser number, so that you can plan ahead for the future. Con number 3 is you're locked into the preferred lender to get the best deal. Almost every one of these incentive packages, whether from Ivory, Edge, DR Horton, Richmond America, you have to use their preferred in-house lender in order to get the best incentives. Sometimes that lender has a genuinely competitive rate, but sometimes it doesn't. And you could be leaving money on the table by not shopping around. And my advice is always the same. Get a quote from an outside lender as well. There have been times where I've had buyers put their lender up against the builder's lender and they compete for your business. And because of that, the buyer ends up getting a better rate, which saves them a lot of money. Con number 4 is less room to negotiate the actual price. Builders are famously reluctant to cut the listing price of a home, even if they're desperate to sell it, because a new lower sale price sets up a comp for every future home that sells in that community, including the ones the builder still owns. And that's precisely why they push credits and buy downs over price reductions. It usually nets out similarly for you financially, but if you're expecting to go in there and offer $40,000 off the list price like you would for a resale home, it's probably not going to work out that way. Con number 5 is going to be smaller lots and oftentimes smaller homes. You've probably noticed homes trending smaller lately, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of the lot sizes have shrunk in size over the years. It's not your imagination. Builders across the country have shifted towards smaller floor plans and tighter lots. They're trying to cut costs to make homes more affordable and more appealing to the masses. That's great if it fits your lifestyle, but it's less great if you're picturing a big open backyard for the dog and the kids to play. Con number 6 is going to be construction zone living, at least for a while. If you're buying into a community that's still actively building out phases 2 and 3, you might need to be ready for dust, higher traffic, and the sound of nail guns in the early morning. And this could last for a couple of years. Now it will certainly settle down eventually as the neighborhood gets built out, but it's definitely a real quality of life concern that you need to consider early on. So, should you go with new construction or should you purchase a resale home? Honestly, it depends less on the house and more on your specific needs and your timeline. If you value predictability, you want a warranty, and you're okay with living a little bit further out from the city, or if you could take advantage from a rate buy down or a $20,000 state incentive. New construction in this market is arguably the best value that it's been in many years, because builders are motivated in a way that they certainly weren't in the frenzy of 2021 and 2022. If you want a specific neighborhood that's close to downtown with mature trees and a big backyard, maybe more room to negotiate on price, or you just don't want to deal with a construction zone next door, resale is probably going to be the better option for you, especially with the inventory loosening up a bit and the days on market stretching out. So here's my advice if you're going to go the new construction route. Number 1, never walk into a builder's sales office without your agent. It costs you nothing. The builder pays the commission either way, and that agent works for you, not the builder. And that is so important when you're purchasing a new construction home, because a lot of buyers will go into that model home, they'll meet some sales rep, and they'll think that they will represent them in their best interests, and they won't. That sales agent is there for the builder and the builder only. They have a fiduciary responsibility to represent them and their best interests alone. Number 2, ask specifically about spec homes or quick move-ins. That's where the deepest incentives almost always live, because those homes are sitting on the market empty and they're costing the builder money. Number 3, get a full loan comparison in writing. Don't just hear 3.99% or 1.99% and sign the dotted line. Ask for the complete amortization schedule so that you know what year 2, 3, 4, and 5 will actually look like, and get a comparison from another lender so that you can make sure that you're really getting the best deal. Number 5, these numbers change all the time, so it's important to stay on top of what the builders are offering as far as their incentives go. And if you have an excellent agent who knows the numbers and stays on top of this data, you'll be a step ahead of the game when it comes to finding the best deals. And treat the incentive numbers like a starting point, not like a final destination. Oftentimes, you can get more or a better deal than what's plastered on the website. Look, there's no universally right answer here. Some of my buyers in the past year have gotten into brand new homes for less than they were paying in rent, and that's thanks to these buy downs and incentives. Others found a better long-term and locked-in deal on a resale home. This market is actually giving buyers a lot of options that they haven't had in a long time. And that's honestly some of the best news that I could give you in this video. If you'd like more information or would like to run your numbers, talk about your target area, your budget, or your specific needs, drop a comment or reach out directly. I'll leave all of my contact info in the description below. And be sure to subscribe for more Utah real estate tips and insights. I plan on posting a video every single week, and I hope that you'll join me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.